Welcome to IDLM Presents Honest Conversations on End of Life. Here we open the door to compassionate, open dialogue about life's final journey. Join us as we explore insights from professionals, caregivers, and those directly touched by end of life experiences. Together, we aim to demystify, inform, and support each other throughout stories, knowledge, and understanding that every conversation brings us closer to honoring life in all its stages. In celebration of National Hospice Month, we're honored to spotlight one of our valued partners, Ann Quinlan Hospice, this month. Today, we are joined by Lorri Opitz, Director of Bereavement, who will share insights to the impactful work at the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center. Join us to learn more about their compassionate approach to supporting families and individuals through their journeys. Welcome, everyone. As we continue to celebrate National Hospice Month, we're excited to spotlight one of our valued partners here at IDLM, and we enjoy and love working, and it's close to our heart, working with the Ann Quinlan Care Concepts. And today's featured guest is Lorri. Lorri, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today because we're going to talk about the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center. Welcome, Lorri.
Hi, nice to see you, Anna.
Great to see you. Lorri, will you share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you started your journey with Ann Quinlan Hospice?
Sure. I started out, I went back to school after becoming a mother and got my master's in counseling, and I had to do an internship, and I ended up doing the internship at Ann Quinlan Hospice, and I was so inspired by the mission and philosophy of the agency that I asked if I could complete the rest of my coursework and internship with that agency. And I did both internships with them and then was hired by them the day after I finished my internships, and that was 29 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm still honored and privileged to be a part of this agency. It does so much for the community, and it's so meaningful, the work that we all do in every facet of the organization. So it's a place that I've devoted a lot of my heart to, and I'm still proud to do that.
Amazing, amazing. We've talked a little bit before, you and I, because I've got a great chance to come and visit and take a tour and see the amazing work that y'all are doing there. Could you tell us a little bit about the center? Where did the need come? Where did y'all see the need, or how did that all come about?
Well, we used to just do bereavement calls to the family members. Once a patient died, we would call and offer our condolences to the bereaved family and a condolence card and some follow-up letters. But we saw that there was such a need in the community for supporting people who are mourning the loss of a loved one, that there really was nothing in the community for that population of people. So the Quinlans decided to open the grief counseling component up to anyone in the community, that you didn't have to be a part of the hospice family to use the services, so that anybody could use the grief counseling component. And the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center was born out of that unmet need in the community.
And can you share a little bit about what takes place, what type of offerings, what type of clients that y'all may be working with?
We work with every age, from the very young to the very old, and we do a large variety of programs. All week long, we do individual sessions, one-on-one counseling appointments, and we do that out of 3 separate offices. Our main office is in Augusta. We have a satellite office in Hackettstown, New Jersey, and Warren County. And we have another satellite office in Milford, PA, out of our Pike County, Pennsylvania hospice office. So we do the individual appointments and group appointments, support groups every month out of those 3 locations. But our main programs are run through the Augusta office. And we will do support groups, 4 support groups a month out of this office, plus an online group and a pet loss support group, because we also do pet loss. Pet loss is a very undermet need in the community. People do not feel comfortable sharing how deeply their grief is regarding the loss of their animal companions, and it can be dismissed or minimized in community. And so people feel the need to come talk to someone privately. And so we have individual pet loss sessions and group, online group meetings, and we also do an annual memorial service for pet loss, and which includes a butterfly release. We also do a memorial service annually for human loss as well, with a beautiful candlelight service. And when the name of your loved one is read, you walk up and you light that tea light and thinking of the person that you're missing. And it's a really special heart-to-heart moment between you and your loved one. That special connection inspires, and you feel the love from them for that moment in time. And it's very comforting and honoring for us to do that for the people that we're missing. We also do specialty programs. Healing in the Classroom is a 2-day seminar that we offer in person sometimes when the need is there, and it's always offered online. So anyone at any time can just sign up for it and take it online. And it teaches people who work in the classroom how to help grieving students. And the grief process in kids, like adults, our attention span is shortened, our irritability is very high, we become preoccupied, and we cannot focus on tasks, and we feel sick sometimes. So we might seem to be manipulating and not wanting to go to school because we have a bellyache or a headache, but it's a real physical response. Grief will offer us pain if we don't do our grief work. So we teach the people who work in the classroom about how to help kids in grief. We also do a bereavement facilitator training program for lay people who would like to start a support group in their community, maybe run out of their church. And we had been asked many years ago to start that. And there's currently a support group in Sparta for the death of a child, support group for the death of a child. And it's been running over 20 years. They started with our facilitator training. So it is a successful program. We also do special events based on community need. Annually, I work with Atlantic Healthcare and we do a Coping with the Holidays seminar. That will be November 19th this year over at Newton Hospital at Romano Center. And we do public speaking for various places who ask, like the nurses, the Sussex County nurses, or the Traumatic Loss Coalition. And this year, Governor Murphy in New Jersey passed a law requiring that every school in New Jersey has to teach grief counseling between the grades of 8 through 12, which is a good start. It should be a lower grade. We should be teaching grief, right, to the very young ones, but it's a start. So we created a training to teach the teachers how to teach grief in the classroom. And we're very happy that it's starting to become part of the conversation. Let's see what else. We do movie nights and we show a grief-themed movie. And we have popcorn and soda and chips, and we watch the movie and then have a support group. And we discuss the themes that are brought up that were triggered in us by the movie. things that we liked or didn't like, and we get to do that in companionship, in with others who are feeling similar to us. One of my favorite programs, though, Anna, as you well know, is our children's bereavement program. And I designed a thematic approach to teaching grief to children. And we've made it so that it's a concurrent group with adults, that an adult has to come also, and they have their own counselor in their own room. We have the kids downstairs in the kids group room. And we teach the kids to be comfortable with the concept of grieving and death, and how to talk about it, how to feel that they can ask for support, learn the lingo, and just help them identify concepts in a way that they can remember. So if I ask an adult, so what's your coping strategy? I'm usually met with a blank stare. And maybe, I don't know, I take a walk, or I don't know, maybe I cry. I don't know. So we teach kids how to identify their style and strategies through themes. We just finished our fall session, and we had a pirate theme. And every good pirate has a patch, and so, and a parrot, and a treasure map. And we teach them the concepts that our world looks different now. We see the world differently in grief. Nothing will ever be the same again. And that we have, every pirate has a parrot on his shoulder, and that's his support, his confidant, his person to share the journey with. And we all need a parrot in grief. We all need that support person. We all need someone we can trust and talk to. And every pirate has a treasure map that he has to follow to lead him to what he finds most valuable, which is treasure. And in grief, we want to turn our tears into treasures. And we have to follow a map. How do we get to feeling better? What do we have to do to heal from this? And who and what are the treasures in our world now? And there are memories, and there are the people who love us, and whatever is meaningful to them. Maybe it's their soccer team, maybe it's their football team. But we help them turn tears into treasures and help them identify those things. Our favorite theme is carnival, because we get to play carnival games with the kids, the egg and spoon race, and throw the bean bags at the cans. But we also teach them, who are you in grief? How do you behave in grief? Are you the clown? Are you the one who acts happy on the outside and hides your feelings on the inside? Or are you the trapeze artist? Are you the person who feels like they're always hanging on by a wire? They're really not coping well. Or are you the strong man in grief? I don't need any help. I'm just fine. Or are you the lion in grief, where you lash out in anger? Or maybe the ever popular popcorn salesman that just keep busy so you don't have to feel your feelings. Many adults identify with the popcorn salesman and the trapeze artist. So, and the kids get that. They understand, oh, I'm the clown at school, but once I get home, I'm this or I'm that. Like a lot of them with an elephant, that feeling slow and heavy in your feelings. They'll be an elephant once they get home. So, but they learn and remember the concepts in a better way. And we want to raise a generation who gets it, who can talk about it and understand and identify what they're feeling and what to do about it.
I think growing up as well, especially just growing up, and hopefully, I think with all the changes that have happened with COVID and how we've been faced to dealing and seeing death, that I see more openness starting to come around more. And I think that I think that y'all are doing an amazing job of helping to teach the young children, or just children in general, to learn it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to hurt. But what are we going to do to now cope with it?
Exactly.
Absolutely. And what age group typically comes and joins you for this event?
Ages 5 through 12.
Do you see a big difference with the 5-year-olds and the 12-year-olds? Are the younger ones, I'm sure, a little bit more quiet, but do they open up as they go through the time? Because it's a week-long event that y'all hold, is that correct?
Runs for a month, one night, every Thursday, so it's 4 Thursday nights.
Oh, awesome.
And yes, there is a big difference in how 5-year-olds relate to the 10, 12-year-olds. 5-year-olds may or may not realize that death is final. They're just starting to figure that out. And, grandpa's in heaven, but heaven's like Walmart or ShopRite, and he might be coming back, or when can we go to Walmart and visit grandpa? So it's very different how we approach the concepts with the age groups, but it's amazing and so meaningful for us to hear the kids sit around the table and talk, and they will say this is the only place they feel normal. The first night, everybody tells the story of what brings them to this table. And they say that at school, like they're the only one who doesn't have a mom, or they're the only one who doesn't have a dad. And they don't want to be that person. Um, they feel different from everybody else. But at the bereavement group, everyone at the table has had that loss, has had a significant loss, and they feel normal there. They don't feel like they're left out or don't fit in. And that's so good for them to have that experience.
I can imagine. And not really even thinking until you just really said it is about, they don't feel normal at school, but coming in and being able to spend time there with y'all helps them to one understand to cope and how to move through grief and to feel normal, especially
Yes.
these are
And
really.
they bond quickly. They bond so quickly. The young and the older, like they help each other, and it's just really a beautiful thing to watch.
Wow, that is so amazing, amazing. And then what do the parents do while the children are doing their activities?
The parents learn what we're doing with the kids and why, so that they can continue the conversation on the way home and at home in the time going forward. And then they also have their own support group among parents who are dealing with worrying about if their kids are okay, or how they themselves are coping or not coping, and how they can help themselves be the best parent they can be to their grieving child.
It's amazing. And I've noticed because we actually here in Texas have the Children's Bereavement Center of San Antonio, but I the more and more I'm learning and about this is that not every area really has something specifically for children. It's very very difficult, or there might be in one state, but it's not for the whole area. There's some gaps missing. So if one of our listeners was not in New Jersey, could they call and do virtual visits with y'all?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, we do phone sessions and Zoom sessions. And I have a client in Maui, I have a client in Nashville, I have a client in upstate New York. You can be anywhere and benefit from our agency services. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. That I just love y'all's bereavement center and all the work that y'all are doing. I think it's such important work that is happening. And would you what if I think one of the things too I think could come up as a question for maybe one of for our audience and someone in our audience is what if someone hasn't died, but maybe they're grieving a loss of a job or a relationship. Can they still utilize the bereavement center?
Usually we do bereavement through loss of life. Um, we do anticipatory grief for before a person has died, and either the person who has the diagnosis themselves, who is facing their own mortality, or we're facing the loss of a loved one, and we start grieving maybe the day of diagnosis. But as far as loss of a job or any other kind of relationship loss, we don't typically do that. But what we find is that when we get a history, when we talk to someone, there is a loss history in their past that hasn't been dealt with. And in dealing with that, it helps them deal with the loss of what they're currently going through, because losses don't stop happening. And if we ineffectively dealt with the loss through death, and we didn't have the coping strategies to deal with that, then we are not going to have the coping strategies to deal with other life stressors and other losses. So we find that even if they may call for a different kind of loss, once we start talking to them, we realize that there is a loss history here and it wasn't dealt with, and we can help them sort it all out.
Amazing. Um, what would you say would be the most rewarding part of being involved with the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center?
I would say it would be the privilege of journeying with someone at the hardest time in their life, and just being able to be present and to help them carry their grief. To me, it's a sacred job. We never forget who's there for us at those critical times and who isn't there. And it's really important for someone to have their pain witnessed, um, and shared. So for me, the most meaningful part is the sharing of the process, and watching them heal and grow and renew and reemerge with new skills, new coping skills, a new lens on life. And they've re-energized themselves to the point where they can find meaning and pleasure as they move forward, even while they carry their pain.
I think it's very, very important that we recognize and acknowledge and work through. Um, could you share a little bit about the project that y'all have going on outside the Bereavement Center?
So that is a Girl Scout Silver Award project. And a couple of Girl Scout troops approached us and asked us if we would be willing to partner with them and help them get their silver award. And they're out back, they're making a nice little butterfly garden with seating and those little egg chairs that you can hang and swing on nice. And also they're including a wind phone, which many people don't know about. I only learned about it recently myself. And it's just a quiet place where you can pick up a phone that goes to nowhere, but you can talk to your loved one and send your messages off to heaven while you sit in a peaceful butterfly garden or wherever the wind phone happens to be. But the Girl Scouts have created a little booth, and they're going to put a phone in there, and people can just come and sit and meditate and feel their feelings and cry their pain, or converse with their loved one with or without the phone in their hand, and just share their thoughts and feelings, and send their messages off. So yeah, it's about halfway done now, so we're pretty excited.
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait. I hope that before I get there again, that it'll be done. I'd love to see
Yes.
it was in the works when I was the last time I was there. So that's pretty amazing. You know, thinking, um, what would you feel that if Joseph T. Quinlan was here today, what do you think that he would be most proud of in the terms of the work being done at the Bereavement Center?
I think that he would be very proud that we can assess the needs of the community that we're living in and identify and address those needs, that the people in the community that he loved and was a part of, um, that the agency named after him is helping to do healing and education and support for his community. So, like, the suicide has become an epidemic, unfortunately, even in this quiet rural county. And we saw that it was very needed for people to be educated and supported through this different kind of loss. So we created a 4-night closed group session to for people who had lost a loved one to suicide. And we did a really special 4-night program for them to help support them, realize they're not alone, give them helpful hints and tips and tricks and healing boxes. And we had clergy and ministers and priests come in to talk about the stigma of suicide and that your loved one will not go to hell because they ended their own life, and all the things that our society still clings to and has that stigma attached to it with a death through suicide. So I think he would be proud that we are opening our doors to the community in the ways that the community needs. We also run groups in high schools, area high school groups, because teens are a tough group to corral. And if you try and, which we have done, Friday night, come for pizza, let's talk about grief. They're not coming. They're not going to show up. Um, so we now collaborated with the area high schools, and they miss one period a month to come to a grief support group in the school. So we kind of have them a little bit like hostage, but they come back month after month and they learn and hear and grow. And it's a process, but at least that we can offer it to that difficult age group. So I think that being aware of what's happening in our community and trying to meet their needs is what we do best. And that Joseph would be very pleased with that.
I think you'd be very, very proud of all of y'all and all the departments, and especially, just all the work that y'all are doing for your community. Family, I think, has been amazing on their giving, and that it's not just touching your own community in your area, but it's actually, just like you had mentioned, you have clients from Maui and, different areas. So it's reaching beyond just your New Jersey area and, the other counties and things like that,
It
which
has grown. Yes, it has grown into that.
that is just really, really amazing. So the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center is nonprofit. Um, and so can you share, so do y'all do some different type of fundraising throughout the year, some events that maybe we can share with our listeners to be on the lookout for?
Yes, thank you. Every year we have our biggest fundraiser, which is a walk to celebrate a life. It's every September. Right next to our bereavement center, there's the fairgrounds, and we walk the fairgrounds, and we have yard stakes with our loved one's name on it, and we walk around the track and we read the names of all the people that we're all missing. And we have a grand marshal every year who is someone who used and benefited the bereavement center, and they do talk a little bit about what they gained from the bereavement center. And there's a memorial wall where you can bring your loved one's picture, and it's hung up, and you can sit and just meditate and think and reminisce in front of the memorial wall. And every year we laminate all the new pictures and we keep them, and every year all the pictures go back on the wall and the wall grows and grows. So whether you're there or not, your loved one's picture is represented on our memorial wall. So that is our annual fundraiser. We also sell sweatshirts and t-shirts every day that say, "I'm not crazy, I'm grieving," because grief makes us feel as if we're kind of losing our minds because we are preoccupied and can't focus or complete tasks, but that's a normal experience in grief. There are lights of life that we do in November, December to honor loved ones. In the summer and June, we do a butterfly release. in coordination with other departments. And it's an ongoing battle to raise funds. Every nonprofit, right, has that struggle to raise money, but we hold these things and try to make them meaningful. Our pet loss memorial service is actually a big fundraiser, unexpectedly. Our human loss memorial service is free to anyone. The pet loss is $25 a name. And we have a butterfly release and a memorial wall also for the pets and the pet names, and a program with their pet names in it. And it last year there were about 100 people there to honor their missing animal friends. So it's a very nice service, and people really benefit from it. They tell us they do.
Would it be possible if someone that doesn't live in the New Jersey area would like to do a donation when you do any of those events, say for their pet, they could recognize their pet or send in something to your memorial service?
Absolutely. It's all of that information on all the programs that the agency runs would be under Ann Quinlan Hospice.org. And for the Bereavement Center, just click on Bereavement Center and it will show you everything that's going on with us.
And they'll be able to order t-shirts and the sweatshirts from there as well?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Is there anything else, Lorri, that you would like to share with our listeners? Something that you really want to make sure that they know about, or anything that's just on your heart that you would like the listeners to know about?
That's, do you have an hour or two?
We can always spend hours just talking. Yeah.
I think that it might just be based on things that I've been hearing recently, but I would just say that if you're trying to support someone who is grieving, don't minimize their grief and don't try and dismiss it or say, you'll be fine, or, this wasn't as bad as the time that that happened. That if we really want to be helpful and supportive to people who are in pain and grieving and um, don't want to turn to a professional, to if you can be that person to listen and not try and fix and just validate, yes, I understand why you feel that way, and reassure, I think you got this, I think you have what it takes to deal with this. And just remind them of their strengths and the supports they have. I think our society would be so much better if we could just stop telling people, oh, get over it, or aren't you done with that already? Why are you still, and if we just listened and heard them and offered kindness, I might be out of a job if society started doing that, because that's what really our grievers need is just some education and support and validation, reassurance, just a kind heart and a willing ear. So, and that disenfranchised grief, that grief that happens when it's not socially accepted or it's dismissed or diminished, like a miscarriage. Like, oh, you can have another baby. It's all right. Or you already have two children. Just, deal with them. Or for pet loss, another disenfranchised grief. Just get another puppy. So when we minimize people's pain, even if it's in an effort to reassure them or make them feel better, dismissing and minimizing their pain is not helpful. So I would say listen intently, don't judge, and offer validation and reassurance.
Amazing. Yes. I mean, and there's so many different things that happen with people and what they go through in life. And then when they have a loss, and sometimes they feel like their whole world has just been ripped from underneath them. And it grief carries on, and a lot of times, sometimes when it does, and after the first year, and we get past that 13 months, and we start hitting, going down that line of getting close to the 20th and the 28 months of grief, it can really hit somebody if they don't open up and talk to somebody, or get, not even just talking, but just getting everything off their chest, increases, um, so immensely. But I'm really glad that we're able today to share our, just share about grief, share about the Joseph T. Quinlan Bereavement Center and all the amazing work that you are all doing there. And listeners, please feel free. I will put in the show notes, the link, but you can go to KarenAnnQuinlan.org, and you'll see different little, you'll see the little tab there for the bereavement center. Please click on it if you're moved to doing so and want to help with this mission, this journey, and all the amazing work that's happening at the Joseph T. Bereavement Center. Please feel free, if you're moved to make a donation, because they are nonprofit and any little bit helps. And also, you can get your grief shirts there and sweatshirts there, and especially those sweatshirts are going to really be coming into handy as we're approaching to this colder weather season. And Lorri, thank you so much for sharing the story and sharing all the amazing work that you all do there. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure, Anna.
Thank you.